USA U17 squad is gearing up for the Concacaf Championships that starts this weekend, and the tournament will send 4 teams to the World Cup later this year. So in order to learn a little bit more about these teams, about this US squad, and who the key players are, what the expectations will be going into this tournament, I brought in Manny. He is a contributor to the channel. He is the creator and moderator of the largest US soccer Discord out there, and he follows vehemently the youth national teams. So let's check in with Manny. I have my laptop here. Long time no see. How are you, my friend?
I've been okay, Jake. I've been, as I was telling you before we started, like, I'm now working 7 days a week. So, I don't really have as much time, these days to kind of, shoot the crap or whatever, but, I'm still very passionate about U.S. soccer and youth U.S. soccer in general. So, yeah, that's kind of been me in a nutshell for like the last few months.
So Manny, before we get into the specifics of the CONCACAF Championship, can you just talk a little bit about the importance of these youth cycles and what they mean for the senior team?
I think this was like the previous year, the 2022, this was like the first year where we got to see our youth on the biggest stage, which was the World Cup. And to see the leaps and bounds that they've made over the last cycle has been, phenomenal. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that core youth is there and to continue to build on it from cycle to cycle. And so by the time that you get to the end of a World Cup cycle with we're talking about the senior team, that you have good depth. So I think that was one of the biggest problems at the last Senior Men's World Cup, is that we had a lot of good players, but then after them, it was just a huge drop-off. And so I think the goal for U.S. soccer is to build upon the depth that the senior men's national team has. And a way to do that is through the youth. So I think I'm looking forward to seeing how these players deal with certain circumstances. And there's no better way than to have these guys play in a tournament. The youth World Cups, I think, are an amazing opportunity for some of these players to get their first experience of playing. And, the senior national team stadiums, bigger stadiums where there's a whole lot of other people, to get them into the mentality of how to prepare and how to train for the tournament. And just getting that experience, because like that, I felt like that experience is crucial when it comes to playing in, a high stakes tournament. So I'm looking forward to see how these players react to that.
All right, that's great. So let's talk a little bit about this tournament then. So 20 teams, the top 4 get sent to the World Cup later this year. What should be the expectation for this U.S. group?
The expectation is that we should win. I don't care if it's U20, U17. The way that the MLS machine is churning out players now, we have good academies. So, I don't see why the expectations shouldn't be that, we should win the whole thing. I know the previous U17 World Cup, not the one that was canceled, but the previous one, Mexico, Mexico was the better team, and they had proved it over that time, even up before the Concacaf U17, because they had beat us multiple times. And so I'm not sure if that Mexico team is still as strong, but again, I always feel as though that we as Americans, we should always win the tournament no matter what. I feel like we're the strongest team. We have the strongest infrastructure in CONCACAF, and therefore we should win.
Awesome. So thinking about the players just individually, what can we expect from this group? And as you mentioned, the MLS academies, who are the key players in the squad?
I think that you are going to get very technical players. And I believe This is probably the most technical U17 team we've ever had. And, that's not hyperbole. I feel like that's actual fact. When you look at the pedigree of some of these players and where they come from, I definitely think that you'll see that they definitely can hold their own on the field. Some of the key players that I see from this, obviously Cruz Medina. Cruz Medina is very heralded and the MLS pipeline. He plays for San Jose Earthquakes. I know sometime in the last year or so, he went on trial at Bayern Munich. And so he, I think, is considered maybe probably the U17's best player. He kind of reminds me of a center midfielder in a center midfielder version of Mesut Ozil, and how Mesut Ozil can just find the right, can pick the right lock, the right key to, to start a play. Because he just sees things that nobody else can see, and I think that's really his MO when he's on the field. Some other players, I like Pedro Soma. He's the holding midfielder. He plays for a third division club in Spain. He's already made his senior team debut. I think he's going to get snapped up by a bigger club in Spain pretty soon here. But he's the type of player that has similar athleticism to Tyler Adams, but better on the ball skills. So I do think that he'll be able to challenge for a holding midfielder spot in the next couple of years here if he continues to progress.
I wanted to ask too about two players from the Barcelona Academy, midfielder Adrian Gill and goalkeeper Diego Cochin. But Cochin was injured. He was on this roster during the camp and replaced. So can you tell us a little bit about Adrian Gill and maybe about the goalkeeper position now that Cochin is injured?
Adrian Gill, so he started off, his parents moved to Spain for job opportunities. And he started off at a smaller Spanish club, and then Barcelona scouted him and took him on. He's a very, energetic center midfielder, good on the ball, patient on the ball. I like him a lot. And then Diego Cochin, as you mentioned, he was on the roster, and then he got hurt. And so he's no longer on the roster. I think that's a big blow because he was going to be slated to start all of the matches. And I think, and this is just my personal opinion, in the matches that I've seen, I do think that there's a big gap between him and the next goalkeeper. That's just my personal opinion. So I think that's going to hurt. How much it's going to hurt, we'll have to see. But I do think that he will be missed sorely.
It seems a lot of our talent is in the central midfield. So are there any areas that are maybe a weakness for the squad?
The team is lacking a center forward, just like most of our. Matter of fact, I think all of our teams, even up to the men's national team, is lacking a strong center forward. Carol Figueroa, formerly of the FC Dallas Academy, he's the son of a former Honduran international. He's over in Liverpool now. And so I do feel that they did call him up to at least get a center forward on the roster. So the hope is that, he could come in and do the center forward things for us and give us some goals here.
Always with the youth national teams, there are big players that are omitted for various reasons. Are there any specific impact players that aren't currently with the squad, and why?
So I think the first biggest omission is Axel Perez. So for anybody who doesn't know about Axel Perez used to be a part of he used to be a part of Weston FC, one of the better clubs in Miami. So he went from Weston FC to Inter Miami. And so he was playing there for probably wasn't even a full year. So then he left, and nobody knew what happened to him. All of a sudden, there was some peeps that, he was over in Europe. Nobody would say nobody would say where he was at. Finally, you know, it was let know that he was at Olympic Lyonnais, the academy that's produced so many, good talents like Benzema and Lacazette. So yeah, he's right now, he's doing well for the U16 team. With these youth call-ups, teams do not have to release players. And so I suspected that Leon, they did not release him because he was going to probably have to make a transatlantic flight, and they probably didn't want him to do that. They have released him in prior camps, but I think the last camp that they held was over in Europe, so it made sense. It wasn't really a long flight. Axel Perez is probably, if not the best, probably one of the best U17 players in the pool currently. Super small, but super technical, quick, can make good decisions. The type of player he is, he's like an attacking midfielder, but again, he's leading his U16 team, the Lyon U16 team, in goals right now. So he's a very good player. I think the thing with him is people are going to be watching to see if he grows, because I believe I think he's under 5 foot. Andre Gateau, formerly of the Houston Dynamo, he's a winger. Not really sure why he wasn't picked. Because he's without a club right now. He's currently in Germany trialing, which is probably a good thing. And so we could possibly see him in Germany in about a year and a half or so. Again, he's been with them through the whole cycle. So it was kind of puzzling to not see him. Jude Welling. So Jude Wellings is probably, if we had to rank between him and Cruz Medina, I probably would say Cruz Medina is 1A, and then Jude Wellings is 1B. Jude is taller, but Jude also is very technical and very skilled. He's also another player that can pick locks. And so again, I don't know why he wasn't released for whatever reason. Maybe he might be released for the World Cup.
Well, he did play a few games for Real Monarchs last season. Is it possible that Real Salt Lake held on to him to give him a full senior preseason?
I personally don't think so yet, because I mean, he rarely played with the Monarchs last year, and the Monarchs are the MLS Next Pro team. So I would think this year his goal is to start as many games for Real Monarchs, and to give minutes with the MLS Next Pro team. So I mean, that could have been a reason. They could have wanted an extended look at him in preseason for whatever reason. Definitely think that was a missed opportunity. And then I just got 2 more. Luis Moreno of the Houston Dynamo, another smaller player, another 5 foot, maybe even less than that player in center midfield. But if I had to rank of all of the center midfielders that they have that could just see a play forming before even touching the ball, he probably is number 1 for me. I don't know why Dynamo elected not to sit him, but I definitely think he could have really helped the team, especially when other teams are bunkering. He could have, pick some locks. So, and then the last one, it's not necessarily a player that's eligible for this level, because he's currently cap-tied with Iceland, because he played for Iceland during the European U17 qualifiers. But Cole Campbell is an Icelandic American. He was currently playing for Dortmund right now, and he was doing so well at the U17 level that he just and he's a 16-year-old. He was doing so well for U17 that he got promoted to U19s. So I do think that that's one for the future. We might be able to sway him to play for the U20s, and to get that switch. But yeah, those are all of the players.
So if that's the team and that's who's out of it, can you talk to us a little bit about the group stage? So we're in a group with Bermuda, Trinidad and Tobago, and Canada. So what can we expect from this group stage?
I believe that this is the best technical group that we've ever had. So even with the players that are not there, are missing, I still think that this group can blow through the rest of the group. I don't know what the Trinidad and Tobago's team looks like or Canada's team, but again, as I said, I feel like this is the best, in my opinion, best U17 team that we've ever had. So the expectation is that we are going to win and win big.
And I did want to ask because, these players are 15 and 16 years old at the time. They seem really far off from the senior team. Are these squads actually important to develop some of the senior team players?
I think Timothy Weah is the perfect example. He is the only American to score at a U17 World Cup, a U20 World Cup, and a men's senior national team World Cup. So I think it's huge to get these players, because I felt like those two experiences helped him for when he was on the big stage. So I think it's huge to have these opportunities for these younger players to get experience. And sure, and sure, at these World Cups, they're not sold out. They're not sold out. So it's not like there's a lot of people in the stands, but it just gets them used to training in, day out, and to just take every game, just take every game one game at a time. So I do think that it's very vital for these players to have these type of experiences to propel them.
Thank you so much, Damani, for joining us, and make sure you are tuning into these games. The first one for the U.S. squad is Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox Sports 2. If you've enjoyed this video and learned something new, make sure to give a like so that more people can find it, and subscribe to the channel if you want more soccer content. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next time. Peace.